my God, that sucks. I love it.
Dudes, you're still cold.
Yeah, a little frigid.
You said that happens to you at home as well.
Yeah, recently, especially because I don't put ice in my cold plunge, so I only do it whenever it's like conveniently cold. So like early in the morning or even like at night is usually when I would cold plunge. Like dude, like I was saying earlier, like my fingers and toes, every time I get out, like even if I just do it for like 2.5 minutes, like a quick one, I get out and like I feel like I can just feel all the blood rushing to my fingers, like just trying to warm up. But yeah, this one today felt cold. Today was pretty cold.
It is a cold one. It's way worse when it's cold outside.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
We've kind of got on the wave during the fall, end of fall, going into the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've been like raised in a good cold plunge environment.
Yeah.
And when it gets hot, like over the summer, I'm bringing that thing to area. So
You're bringing the whole thing, or just the box?
everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm about to buy the. I just saw an ad for kind of like the same thing you got. How it keeps the water cold.
Chiller.
Yeah. Dude, apparently it's like half off, so they are closing me on the half off right there. But it's still like $600. But I think it's worth it because I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was like, dude, if you go and buy a bag of ice every single day, it's like $2 or $3. That versus buying the chiller, like you're gonna save more money actually on the year if you just bought the chiller versus buying a bag of ice every day.
100%.
So, as long as it doesn't break, because that would suck.
Right.
So.
My thing for bringing it out is like, and you asking me whether I was going to bring out the sled, I wasn't really planning on it, but I'm thinking like, dude, if I could sled every morning, because you're knocking outside,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't escape that. So if I could you make yourself go outside, even if it's raining, right? Even if it's cold one morning in the beginning of the summer, whatever, right? Go outside and you sled, then you cold plunge, and then you start your day. First of all, I feel like my workouts could be shorter and have the same, if not a better effect on like my dopamine and mood and everything like that if I had the plunge and I had the sled.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's like a tether. It's almost like a comfort thing for me now too. I do the sled and the cold plunge so often that it's like, I feel like over the summer, if I bring that stuff out just to have like as a tether to something that like keeps me comfortable and happy, I feel like it'll be, and it sounds weird, but
Sound like a psychopath right now.
No,
yeah, dude, pushing the sled and jumping in freezing water, it makes me feel so at home.
It does. I do it every day, dude. It's like my teddy bear.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, so you're gonna bring that out over the summer. It's good. But yeah, so Scotty Deffinbaugh, you weren't born and raised here in Wilmington.
Mm-mm.
So
no,
tell the people, where'd you come up? Where'd you grow up? What were you like growing up? And what's your story getting to Wilmington and all that? Curious.
Yeah, so I was born in a small town in Maryland called Olney. And it was like, if you know Maryland at all, it's like 45 minutes to an hour outside of like DC and Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
So like growing up, we'd kind of always go to the city. There's an aquarium in Baltimore that's like super sick. But grew up in a small town. We moved around we moved 3 times in like that same town. So like moving was kind of always like, it wasn't crazy until obviously we moved states, because that was a huge jump.
Yeah, and you're not an only child.
Yeah, no, not at all. I'm one of 7 kids, so it's always entertaining. I'm the 3rd oldest, so I have an older sister who's 29, about to turn 30 in the summer, and then I have an older brother, John. He's 23. Me, about to turn 22, and then James, who is a senior in high school, 18. Joe, who is just turned 15. He's a freshman in high school. Then we got Lexi, who is 13, when it's 13.
You're already doing great. I'm already impressed.
Yeah, 13, and then Alice, who's 9. So it was actually really funny because me and Johnny, obviously, we're only a year apart. And so like every like 2 to 3 years, my mom would sit us down and be like, hey, like I have an announcement to tell you guys. And we'd be like, is it a boy or girl? Like it's like, how'd you know? Well, it's been like 3 years since the last one. So like we just figured.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up, like we always like, we had a great neighborhood. It was really cool. It was like a bunch of kids that were all like our age. Especially like we would get snow in Maryland, unlike you guys down here. And so we had this one ditch, and it was like pretty steep, and it went into like, it was supposed to be like a sewage thing, but it was always empty. It was just grass. And so when it snowed, like all the kids would just go out there, and like that was probably one of the best memories living in Maryland for sure. Just like me, all my siblings, and like all the kids in the neighborhood would just go to this ditch and just sled, snowboard a little bit, and then just snowball fights. Like it's probably like one of my favorite memories of Maryland. So
Dope. What was it like with the 6 siblings, being one of the oldest? How do you think that changed kind of how you grew up a little bit?
Definitely. Well, I think Johnny definitely got the more like, all right, people look up to me kind of thing more than I did growing up. Like at a younger age, like now I'm definitely like, look, I'm a role model to these kids, you know. I want to make sure like my little siblings grow up to be good people. So it's definitely like more obvious for me to act a certain way. But I don't know. I was always, helping change diapers, hold babies. It was just like a normal thing.
Yeah.
But I would say Johnny, my older brother, definitely was like the mature one. If, the siblings got into a fight, they would like go to Johnny.
Yeah.
He would like break it up and like calm down. All right, you tell your side, you tell your side. I was more like throwing the gloves.
Throwing gasoline on the fire.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That makes sense. Knowing you, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you grow up there. When do you start playing basketball? Because I know that's a big part of your life. So,
dude, I started playing basketball since like I could walk. There's a story that my mom and like my grandma love. My parents went to Paris and they brought Victoria and Johnny, and they left me because I was like 2 or something like that. So I stayed at home with my grandma, and we had like this little plastic basketball hoop, like for toddlers or infants or whatever. And I had like this little just inflatable ball, and like I would just go and just drop it in the hoop, and then like go pick it up and then like put it back in. Like I just would just do that, and like my grandma told my parents like he didn't do anything else but that, like literally the whole time you were gone. And so like that's how I started my journey.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're kind of obsessed from a young age.
Dude, I don't know, something about the sport just always like. And like I played other sports too, like growing up. Like I feel like every kid played like soccer and swam and football and stuff like that growing up, and baseball. Like I pretty much played almost every sport, I feel like, growing up. And I was always, pretty good. I was never like really bad at any sports. But like basketball was just way more enjoyable for me for some reason. I guess I just liked the crowd that came with it, and like I used to love watching street ball. Like growing up, like the professor and all those guys, like I used to love watching that. I feel like that's probably why like I fell in love with that sport a little bit more. Just like the entertainment around it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Basketball is a really entertaining sport. The culture is cool. So when did you get serious about it? Because, if we fast forward, you grew up there and you moved to Wilmington when?
When I was 15, turning 16. So I finished my freshman year of high school in Maryland, and then I moved into my sophomore year here. So I did 3 years of high school here, yeah.
And by the time you're a sophomore moving here, you're pretty serious about basketball. You're playing AAU, I assume, and playing in high school. What was it like kind of coming here to a new state, and did you hop on varsity? Like, how was that for you?
It was really weird. That was really weird. The transition was really weird. Especially because I thought like DC and like that area where I'd been playing basketball, I thought that was like really, really good competitive basketball, which it was. You know, DC has really good basketball players, but I didn't realize that North Carolina was literally called the Hoop State.
Right.
You know, and so we moved down here, and then I went and looked at 3 schools. It was Hoggard, Laney, and Hanover. Met all the coaches, and everyone was super cool. Like, they all wanted me to come play for them, and then I ended up choosing Hanover because that's where Johnny went. So I didn't even really choose it because I liked the school more. I just wanted to be with my brother because that's the only person I knew.
Yeah.
And so
Is he a grade or 2 grades older?
he's a grade above
1
me.
grade.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It was literally like,
Yeah.
why not just follow him? I don't know anybody else. And it's probably the best decision I made. I ended up making varsity as a sophomore. I was the youngest kid on the team. Got to play. We had like 9 seniors that year. It felt like probably like 8 or 9 seniors. So kind of boosted my confidence to be able to make
Did you
varsity.
play?
Not as much as junior and senior year because we had 9 seniors, but
Right.
I had my moments. You know, we honestly
You saw the floor though as a sophomore.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually in a news article as a sophomore too, which
Wow.
yeah, I know. It was like, hey, you got in and scored a bucket.
Most minutes on the bench.
Yeah, for real. No, we had a really good team my sophomore year. We ended up we placed like 4th in the state. It was like a heartbreaker for the seniors because it was like their year, and we lost to a bad call, which everyone hates to see it. We lost by 1, you know. So yeah, like it was just they called a travel on this guy Hayden, who was one of our big guys at the time, and he didn't travel at all. Like it was a bad call. But played varsity all 3 years at Hanover, and it was a good time. It's fun.
Sick. So you go from sophomore year varsity, playing some junior and senior year. I imagine your role steps up a ton. You're a good scorer. I don't know exactly what your stats were in high school, but I know you can shoot pretty well. You're a slasher. You've always been pretty good from what I've seen. But you got way better like after high school, right? When you went to Moravian after you graduated from Hanover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. It made me look back at Hanover like, dude, it's kind of a joke.
Yeah. I mean, even seeing like your physique going from high school to Moravian was insane.
Yeah.
You just looked like an athlete after Moravian.
Dude, seriously. I graduated Hanover like 150 pounds, 155 pounds. And then the 5 months I was at Moravian, I gained 20 pounds of muscle. And like I say like literally 20 pounds of muscle because I was doing so much cardio. Like I had no fat at all. Like I was just lean bulking the whole time, you know? But yeah, dude, the prep school was a huge change of like how I looked at basketball. I played against like really good competition that I never really saw at Hanover or like in, you know, the public schools. And just the exposure too, honestly. Like yeah, we're going to play at this event. Here's the list of coaches that'll be there. And it was just like, okay, wow, like they're just going to be there. It's like, yeah, they always come to these events because this is where like the top talent is. So it really just changed the way I looked at the game. And like, dude, like, yeah, you're going out there to compete and like win, obviously, but you're also like selling yourself to these coaches, you know, because you can be a great scorer and a great player, but if you're expressing a piss poor attitude, like you're having like, you missed a bad shot or missed a call and you're like crying to the refs. It's like, dude, these coaches pick up on everything. And so it really just changed like the perspective of the game for me big time to like what really matters.
Especially if you're not like 6'8",
Yeah.
like power forward. They'll probably ignore some shitty attitudes.
Yeah.
If you can dunk with your feet on the ground, as opposed to
that would help.
6 foot,
That would
6
help.
foot white dude out there, right?
That would help.
Did you think like what was your goal? I'm curious about that. What was your goal going to Moravian? You ended up later going to Methodist and playing there a little bit. Like, did you for real have like kind of like hoop dreams? Like, is that what you wanted to do? Was that like big sights? Like, I really want to hoop in this or that arena. Like, what did you want to do? What was your goal there?
Dude, honestly, I didn't actually have an initial goal. The way I got into Moravian it was kind of a funny story. So I was ready to just call it quits. I graduated in 2020 when COVID happened, and like honestly, the only reason I was there is because like my mom and my dad were like pushing me to like not give up on like my dream of playing basketball. And so they were trying to like call around to schools to see if I could play on like the JV or even like club teams, like just keep playing basketball. It makes you happy. Like just keep doing it. Come on. And so my mom came to me and was like, hey, like, one of the coaches at State, she had some connection with an assistant coach at NC State. And he had said that like you should look into post grad at prep schools. And so she looked into post grad and found Moravian Prep and looked at reviews and talked to the coach. And she's like, hey, like they want you to come up and like work out with them. And, they want to see you. And so I was like, I don't really want to go. And they're like, no, come on. Like, we're going. We're going to take the trip. We went. Super cool. I got to play basketball with Josh Hall and, what's the other guy's name? Shaquem Moore, who, the following year, Josh went to the league and Shaquem went to NC State. So, like, 2 top players, like, honestly, in the country. And it was like really cool to see those guys and like, okay, like this is kind of like a legit school. And so that kind of like brought some more dreams back to reality. Like, okay, if I'm going to go here, I'm just going to play basketball. I just wanted to play basketball after that. Obviously I was trying to go D1. And then I ended up getting 2 D1 offers, to ECU and UNCW, but they were walk-on offers. So I wasn't going to play at all, unless it was a blowout. And I'm like pretty glad I didn't take it, but at the same time, I'm like, it could have been cool. I could have worked my way up, maybe earned a scholarship. But I really just didn't want to wait and take that chance. So I took a small school offer where I could just be the man and play all 4 years, which ended up sucking anyways. So yeah, that's pretty much how that went.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I like to bring that up too is because I feel like Moravian, that experience, those tough workouts, that discipline, I feel like that definitely shaped you in a lot
big
of
time.
ways, right?
Big time.
After high school.
We the first month we were there was Hell Month, and so they would take our phones. Our Coach Belt and Coach Mike would take our phones at 10 o'clock, and then we would get woken up by Coach Mike with like an air horn walking through the house. So we stayed in one house with like 27 guys. One house, 27 guys. I had one roommate for the majority of the year, and then another guy moved into our room because that was like my best friends there. And Coach lived upstairs in like the attic. So we were all packed. Like the amount of stuff we saw, like it was some of those kids I would never live with again. Real. It's just so funny. But we would get woken up at 4 a.m. to an air horn, and bus leaves in 15, like get on it, like come on. So we would get on the bus, go to our first workout at 4:30. It would be cardio from 4:30 to 6. And it was like, dude, first workout I threw up in front of everybody. I was the only one who threw up. And Coach Belt, who was the head coach, comes out with his camera, puts me on his Instagram story. And I'm like, dude, you got like first day working out with everybody, like I'm throwing up, and coach just put me on blast. Like, dude, it was so funny. But dude, they had us doing like rat runs around the parking lot for like, one time we did it for the whole thing. The whole time we just ran rat runs, and like the person in the front had a medicine ball, and they had to sprint and get to the back of the line and then pass the medicine ball up, and then those guys had to run. Like, it was brutal. We had to like push a van up and down a hill, and then we had to do, this is where I threw up, we had to do wheelbarrows. So somebody holding your legs and you're like crawling. Yeah. We had to do that like 20 times. So like up 1, back 2, like 20 times. And like after like 12, and like that was like the last thing we did. Like after 12, I'm like, dude, I don't feel so good. Like I'm upside down. Like, so, but we did that stuff like that for a month. And then after that workout, we had another one from 8 to 10. So we'd come back at 6. Some people would take a power nap. Some people would just cook a little breakfast. But then we're back in the gym from 8 to 10 with a strength coach, Mitch, his dog. And one group would be doing strength and like joint stuff. And then the other group would be doing like ball handling and shooting drills. So it was like fundamental stuff. And then they'd rotate from 8 to 10. Then we had practice from 1 to 3. And like that was like we run through plays, we scrimmage, we do stuff as like a team kind of thing. And And then we'd come back, eat some food. They'd bring us dinner. And then usually we're back in the gym playing pickup or getting another workout in from like 6 to 8, something like that. So yeah, it was just like, we lived in Hickory. There was
grind.
Yeah, and there's nothing else to do. You know, you're in the middle of nowhere, so it's like you could sit in your room, be on your phone all day, or you can just go sit in the gym and do something. You know, so when you have nothing else to do, it's like you kind of just naturally elevate.
It sounds fun though.
Oh, dude, it was sick. It was probably like fun. The best time. I don't know if I'd ever do again though.
Yeah. Yeah. Basketball coaches can be crazy. I mean, you hate them in the middle of it sometimes with the conditioning, but it does make you way better. I had a coach, and I never really played that serious of basketball, but in AAU, I had a coach that would always say, like, if you guys aren't going to be a good basketball team, you're going to be the best track team in the U.S. Like, he would just, like, scream stuff like that.
That's
right?
wild.
So we would, like, if we ever, like, messed up, even slightly, this guy would just dynamite. He would just explode.
Old dude?
He was in his 50s. He was a smoker. He was kind of pissed off all the time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and he'd just like scream at us, right? And then the worst thing that I remember that we ever did is that we did 13 suicides. So we split the team up into 2 groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had 30 seconds to do a full suicide, free throw, half court, other free throw, full court back. We would do it in 30 seconds. Then the other team would start at the end of the 30 seconds, and we'd have 30 seconds to rest, and then we'd do it again.
13
times.
We
did 13 in a row.
Yeah, that's not fun.
And it was like, I remember that being probably like the most my lungs have ever felt.
Yeah.
Really, like, I didn't throw up, but a couple guys on the team did. Like, that was crazy. But it makes you better. I think back to that, I'm like, damn, like, I was young, but like, we were in good shape. Like, that's crazy. To be able to do that, like,
for real.
There's no way I could do that right now.
For real.
Like, I'm in pretty good shape. There's no way I could do that right now.
Yeah.
No way.
It kind of makes you think, like, why didn't we stick with it?
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, dude, sprints are great. I do want to start doing sprints again. Cause, sprints are great. I feel like they keep you fast. They keep your fast twitch muscles active. I feel like they keep you younger.
You don't like distance running, right?
I think it feels good. It feels good after. Like, I love the feeling of, like, having 30 minutes of, like, really good blood flow and kind of getting in that zone with your breathing. I like it. That's not my favorite.
Honestly, it's not. Like, I would rather run sprints because I think that's just naturally because, like, playing basketball, like you said, like, we're running short distance. So it's like doing that. But anytime I do run long distance, I always like if I run like 3 or 4 miles, I try and do it as fast as I can.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I'm like, man, I'm going to do that again.
Yeah.
Like almost immediately, even though
it feels
I'm
good.
dead.
The runner's high is real.
Yeah.
The runner's high is real. And I mean, the way I think about it is like, dude, if you sat there and just sat like crisscross applesauce and just breathed really deep for 30 minutes and did like that as a breathing exercise, it would feel really good. And that's basically what you're doing when you're running. You're breathing deeply for 30 minutes, right? So you're like getting a lot of oxygen to your body. You're kind of like getting a lot of oxygen to your brain. I think that's one of the reasons it feels really good.
I wonder why like runner's high. Like, is it like what actually happens to like give you that crazy dopamine release? That
I don't know. I don't know if it's dopamine or serotonin or something, but it's just, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying though?
Something
Like,
to do with effort.
What about like running versus weightlifting gives you, because I feel like, I mean, I would say you still get somewhat of a lifting high, you know, like you hit some big weights or you do like a lot of sets of whatever.
Like dumbbell press.
Yeah. Like afterwards you're like, yeah, like that felt really good, but it's not even close to like the runner's high.
Maybe some of it, part of it is maybe because we used to run a lot as a species, and that was like something that we had to do. We used to run a lot. That's why I started running with the barefoot shoes, because there's this book called Born to Run, and it basically talks about how humans used to be pretty much nomadic, and we would run crazy, crazy distances. I mean, we used to hunt like horses and like buffalo and things like that on foot because we could last longer. They were faster, but they would literally tire out and die while we were on foot. We would jog, we would walk, we would jog, we would run. We'd basically keep up with them, and then they would die of exhaustion, and that's how we would hunt them. That's how humans used to hunt.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So we're built for endurance. Like, people can do pretty crazy things. I mean, look at Goggins. Look at ultra marathon runners. They can run 250 miles.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really crazy.
No other animal can really do that. And most humans can't anymore. But those guys are kind of tapping into what humans used to be like. We used to do that shit a lot.
That is really crazy to think about. Yeah. When he was talking about in Can't Hurt Me, when he's talking about bad water or bad water or
Bad water, yeah.
bad water.
100 miler.
Yeah, like that's crazy to think like people do multiple of those a year.
Yeah.
You know, like, and the terrain that they do it in, like he's talking about, yeah, we did one in the rainforest, like we did one like in the mountains, one in like the desert, like that's crazy. That's actually really crazy to me.
Yeah, I remember one of his races, it's like 150 miles or something he talks about in the book, and it's like a trail, like a mountain trail.
Yeah.
150 miles.
It's crazy. It's
I
crazy.
can't run 5.
I think he did it in 36 hours. I think that's the one he did in 36 hours, if I'm not wrong.
Dude's a unit.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he was talking about one of the guys that he ran with. I can't remember his name or like how he knew him. Maybe it was through the ultra marathons that he had like met him through that, or he knew him through the SEALs.
Was
But-
it Itzler? Jesse Itzler? Or no?
Could have been smaller dude.
I don't know.
There's a picture of them together after the race in the picture in the book. This is why I know that. But he's talking about him like, dude, that guy didn't stop. Like Goggins had like times where he's like, I don't know if I can keep going, and like that's what he talks about a lot, and which is why it's like pretty intriguing because like he has those moments of like self-doubt,
Yeah.
and like he's like, dude, I feel like I'm gonna die. Like I don't know if I can do this, and then it's like, nah, like I'm just gonna go. Like ignore the governor. Like I'm just gonna go.
Right.
But he's talking about like this other guy who he's running alongside for most of the race. That dude just kept going. Like bro didn't stop. Like how do you do that? I don't know. That's crazy. That's insane. 150 miles on crazy terrain. Like
That's why I love reading those books and listening to that content because, I mean, Goggins is truly like a, in my opinion, he's like a vessel sent from God, showing us what we're capable of. Like truly, like he really is. Like he's a beast. He's a saint, and he's showing people that look like you think you can't do X, Y, Z. You think you got to stop. Like truly, what he's done is literally just saying, it's like looking at that, and it's like fuck you. It's like no way. You do not have to stop. You don't. Like you think what you're doing right now is hard, but like I'll show you that I've reached that point. And I've pushed through 10x, right? And that's like what his life is. That's his whole life. His whole life is literally like, let me reach the mental barrier and let me say F you. And I'm not going to stop, right? Like it's inspiring. I mean, that's why he's so popular.
another thing that I think is pretty cool is like for example, so like over the summer, okay, or anytime I'm doing something that's hard, I feel like I've always had somebody or something that kind of like encourages me, somebody like picking me up, even you, like I've called you over the summer. I'm like, bro, I'm having a bad day. Like I need a little pick me up. Like, dude, tell me something inspiring. I don't know, something. But like, dude, when you're out there running and you don't have your phone on you, like you just have a watch to like time, like you don't have that. It's just you and your thoughts,
right?
Like that's pretty cool to me. Like he didn't have somebody who's like, dude, like you got this, bro. Like you keep going, dude. I'm right here next to you. Like we're all doing the same. Like keep going. I mean, you had guys that ran past him and checked on him and stuff like that, but you know what I mean though? Like you don't have the guy that's like, yo, dude, I need some inspiration real quick. Pick me up. It's just him and his thoughts. Like that's pretty cool.
Listen to music.
Yeah, he
purpose.
doesn't like Although he will listen to the Rocky soundtrack here and there.
Yeah.
He will play the Rocky soundtrack here and there.
Yeah, that's fitting. So yeah, kind of transitioning. Speaking of doing something hard, right? You've done hard things. You played competitive basketball. You went to a tough prep school, right? I want you to speak and kind of maybe share some info about your rookie year with Aptive, but maybe in the context of like, if you're a young guy or girl in school, out of school, job, no job, whatever, kind of have heard of door to door, maybe you haven't heard of door to door and you're kind of listening to this, I want you to tell some details about your rookie year, kind of how it went in the context of this was a challenge. And I want you to talk about like, what was hard about it? Like, what was the challenge, right? How was it different than challenges that you've had in the past? Because truthfully, you know, we definitely recruit and get guys to come out with us, and we want to give other guys the opportunity, but not everybody's cut out for what we do.
Mhm.
We know that it's not a good fit for everybody. So I think it's valuable for others who have never done this before to kind of hear perspective of somebody who's good at this. What is the challenge? What was the challenge to you? Why was it hard? How was it different than things you've done before? So I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the first thing I would say, like the biggest challenge for me was just the mental endurance. Like that was something that I wasn't really like ready for. You know, not really, you know, obviously not knowing what the job is before going out there. Because, you know, I feel like everybody before doing this, they all have like their own thought of what the job's going to be like when they go out there.
You're a confident guy, right? So you were a confident guy before. You know, you're pretty good at things. You're good at basketball. What's going through your head when we're sitting here telling you it's really hard? What's going through your head, honestly? Try to put yourself back there. What were you thinking when we were saying, you know, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do? Like, you know, speak to that guy that's in the same position as you before they knock for their first year. A confident guy. What were you thinking when we said that?
Dude, honestly, when we had our talks and you were like, we were talking about goals and stuff and like what it would take every day to hit my goal, I kept looking like, dude, I'm going to do way more than that.
Right.
Like 1 sale a day, 2 sales a day, even 3 sales a day. Like, dude, I'm going to do way more than that. And like something that a trait about me that I don't know if it's always a good thing, but I tend to compare myself to other people, and I feel like it can be pretty powerful when it's done correctly or like in a healthy way, you know. But when I started to meet other guys and they told me what they did or how much money they've made, I'm like, dude, how can I not do that? Like, why can I not be that guy? You know, what does he have that I don't have that makes him more successful, you know? And so like that was a big thing, especially when we went to the 3-on-3 tournament and I got to meet everybody. And like, I was like, you do this job too? You really, you made how much? You know, like that really boosted my confidence. Cause you know, especially at the time I'm like, dude, I'm a dog. Like I'm such a stud. Like I'm going to kill it out there, you know? So talking about how hard the job was initially, I was like, whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
I'm gonna kill it. Like I'm whatever. I'm gonna be like the best dude in the company. Watch Golden Door rep coming for a rookie year, you know. And then like as soon as I got out there, I was like, yo, this is different. This is not at all what I thought it was gonna be like. Even though I had initial success, you know, like my first day as a rookie I had 3, second day I had 6. You know, like I remember coming home that day after I had 6, and Tay and Charlie's team had come over. Because everyone had like just gotten out the area, and so like we had the 3 teams kind of meet up and hang out Saturday night. We had like a little barbecue or something, and like I came in the door and like I remember, dude, you immediately came over and like dapped me up and gave me a hug and like, dude, that's sick. And Tay was like, you're Scotty, you know, like immediately after that, like confidence was through the roof. Like just go out there. I knew what to do. I'm gonna go out there and do it again, you know. But I would say the biggest challenge for me as a rookie is doing it every day consistently, you know. And you know, I'm still not perfect with it, you know, and that's my challenge to myself this year is shut up and do the thing. Like just do it. Like no ifs, ands, or buts, just do it. So I would say that was my biggest challenge as a rookie.
Just the day to day.
Yeah.
You can do it one day. I always say this. I say this on interviews too. Like, look, anybody can do what we do for a day, right? Most people with the right motivation could probably do it for a week.
Mm-hmm.
I think few people could do it well for a month. And I think only a small percentage of people could do this well for 3 months.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not because, like we were just talking about with Goggins, it's not like anybody is incapable of going out there and knocking the doors in a row for those amount of days and walking the amount of miles or whatever it is, right? A lot of people could do that. But like you're saying, it takes a certain mindset. It takes a certain dude or young, driven, ambitious girl, even in college or college age or whatever, to go out there and have the dog in them to keep it up and not lose it, right? Another thing that's interesting about your rookie year is you had a great rookie year, right? You did 150K, a little bit over that, in what? How many weeks?
I don't even know. I think it was like exactly 3 months.
Exactly 3 months.
Maybe like a week over.
It was
3 months.
about 12. It was about 12 weeks, about 12, 13 weeks,
Yeah.
from what I remember. And so that's really solid as a rookie, right? Really solid. And a lot of rookies would dream of hitting that, and they haven't, right? But it's even then, like you called me sometimes, right? Like it's dirty, right? This job is not clean, it's not pretty, right? So you'd have moments where you called me and you're like, dude, I don't know, right? Dude, I don't know about this, right?
I think the best one is when I was at like 135. I was at like 140. Like I was up there. I was very close to 150. I was like, yo, Robbie, dude, I think I need to go home. And you literally, shut up. Dude, shut up. You're 12K away. What are you talking about? Shut up. Go out. And you hung up on me. And I was like, oh. But yeah, dude, it's never like goes away. I feel like, but you can like turn it off. Like you can like turn it down, so.
And I want to talk about that too. We'll talk about that, with your second year and lessons we've learned and your goals for your third year. We'll talk about like tools that I've found and that you've found now and that we can kind of talk about to fight that, right? But okay, so you go out there, first year with Aptive. You bring out a couple guys too, right? You're already recruiting right off the bat and you're a solid recruiter, and you do 150K, you make great money, right? Know what the exact figure is with the residual. It's somewhere over $50,000 for sure. But you go out there in 3 months and make 50K as a
20-year-old,
20-year-old, right? Which, first of all, huge, right? That changes your life a little bit, right? So what was your perspective after making 50 grand and kind of seeing what you saw your first year?
Dude, I feel like it was a pretty easy choice to like want to come back, you knew what I was doing before. I was a server before, and I wasn't making terrible money either. I feel like serving is a great job where you can make more money the better you get at it, upselling items and stuff like that. But like no justification for me to not come back, like why would I want to do anything else? Not even like the money obviously was a big thing, more money I'd ever seen, but like I definitely felt like I grew a lot as a person. Like, I feel like I've grown more in the past 2 summers than I have the 19, 20 years prior, So it was a pretty easy decision.
Yeah. And you see guys kind of above you in the company been doing it longer than you a little bit, like recruiting and making good money and having a career out of it too. So I think seeing that probably helps. But then you recruit a ton, right? You recruit the world. You're a great recruiter, right? You wanted to give as many people this opportunity as you had because you went out there and made $50,000 in 3 months with no experience. And you bring out some friends, some guys you went to Methodist with, and talk through your second year, lessons learned, how did it go? Everything like that. I want you to hear the honest take of year 2 for yourself.
Dude, straight up, I was a little bitch. Can we say that? Can we say that?
Yeah.
I was a little bitch.
Yeah.
I was. I had some stuff going on like right before the summer, and I felt like I was doing an okay job prepping for the summer. I think what kind of screwed me up is, one, obviously some stuff out of my control. But 2, I feel like I just didn't understand my role as a first year team leader. I so badly wanted to be on the same level as Sabo, Ryan, Jack, other guys that have been doing this a year longer than I have. And like, I forget that I'm not as experienced, even though I sell at like the same level. You guys all had an extra year or 2 or 3 on me, and so I tried to just jump in and, since I built a team, I was like, dude, I want to just do everything. Like, I want to be that guy. I want to be the one with responsibility, and I want that to like help me. And I feel like I really just shot myself in the foot doing that, not understanding my role. Like I should have let my team leader take the reins completely, and I should have just shut up and done the thing, And so
you're saying knocking and selling at a
Yeah.
higher level.
yeah, and just going out there and selling to the best of my ability.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, dude. It's like leading, and we always say this. It's true though. Being a team leader is drinking water through a fire hose. It really is. Like it's tough. It's new. You're like, what the hell is going on? Like it's more responsibility than you had before. It's very rewarding, right? It's very rewarding in a lot of ways. And even though you're being hard on yourself and saying that this summer you're a little bitch, whatever, but you did a lot of great things, right? You still sold well, right? And you had a lot of things going on with your family that, I think would throw a lot of people off. But it's a learning experience, right? It is for everybody, right? And I think the stars align for guys to get it and have it click sometimes year two. Sometimes it's God saying, you're going to learn everything you need to learn right now. And that's going to kind of save you from it later, right? People are going to learn one way or another. And sometimes you got to learn the hard way. It's kind of how I see it for you in year two. But the lessons have been learned. And now I know you're really excited to kind of apply that for year three. Now you see, hey, I don't have to do everything, right? And I hope you see, and I know you do, and hope everyone listening too, if you've been a team leader at Aptive or any door-to-door realm, like the important stuff is to do it, right? Like a leader, and I think that's what's so cool about Aptive. It's what I've learned, it's what everybody around me has learned, is like being a leader, the word leader is misunderstood, right? Being a leader is doing the thing that you're asking everyone else to do, right? And good teams, that's what it's all about, right? It's not managing. There is manager role. Like you need a manager, right? Every team needs a manager, but I'd rather have a team with a leader and a poor manager than a good manager and a poor leader, right? That's what I think at one point everybody in this job will learn the hard way or the easy way, is that leading is different than managing, and going out there and being a leader is truly just being the example, right? That's what I see as a leader, right?
Absolutely.
And I know you're ready to apply that for year three. So you've had your lessons, and yeah.
I got the little basketball shooter mindset right now.
Yeah.
Shooters never miss 2 in a row.
There you go.
Okay. So
yeah. No, I wouldn't say you missed. It's good though. You can be humble and learn. I mean, you're in an awesome position, right? You're in an awesome position to go from, I mean, even making the 50 to, I know you made more in year two, right? You've made at least 150K probably in your first 2 years with this company, bonuses, benefits included, and all that. And, if someone could sit here and say, hey, you're a server right now, you're 20 years old, I'm going to give you this sales job. You're going to make 150K, get to travel the world, go to Dubai, go to South Africa, meet hundreds of new people, and have brotherhoods that are going to last a lifetime in the next 18 months, right? I mean, you can be hard on yourself all you want, but it's still like, where else are you getting anything like that?
Yeah.
Right? Where else are you getting anything like that?
Yeah.
And not to mention, hey, now you're on a springboard with the lessons, with the downline, with your recruits, with your boys that you're going to be working with for year three to be absolutely massive, right?
I'm really excited for my group, especially Team Bravo, Omega Bravo is going to be sick. It's going to be sick. I think, hands down, I think we have one of the best cultures in Omega. I think my group of guys has one of the best cultures, and I know it's gonna piss a few people off. I know I'm gonna get a text from Charlie whenever he hears this. But I'm super excited. I've been looking at like some logos to maybe get some T-shirts. You know how we had the Team Echo for New York. I was thinking like the same type of vibe, but Team Bravo. I don't know. I'm excited. We have a few younger guys, which, dude, honestly, like so far, those guys are putting in some of the most work. I think there's something. I think age definitely helps with this job. Just having like a little bit more maturity and like experience just in life doing stuff. But I also think that like, dude, you're young and you're hungry and like you're just gonna do it. You're just gonna do it. So
if anybody thinks just because you're young you can't crush and door to door, go listen to Corbin Hansen's first podcast on the landing pad. Right?
Yeah, you know.
Albeit his brother might be the GOAT and he's got a great person to learn from. The dude was 16, stepped out, sold $650K in revenue, probably made at least after retention $250,000. Got a free Raptor. Drove his Raptor to his senior year of high school. Just the man on campus, right? And we have HD, right? HD, your recruit. Like, you know, I'll never. It's this job, you know, it's money's great, but it's so much more than the money, especially when you start recruiting and growing and giving your time and sacrificing to other people. I would like do this job, even in my position where I'm like, yeah, I don't really make much money off HD or what he does, of course, but like I would do what I do, like almost just to see like him win. Like truthfully, like that is so cool to me. It's so cool to me that in my network somewhere, even if I don't get a lot of compensation from that, right? It's distantly in my line, whatever. I get to see a freaking 17-year-old go, and he's going to make, you know, 6 figures plus this year. He's going to crush it. He's got an awesome mindset. He's grown so much. He's learned so many cool skills because I know he's going to either take this to the moon or start a business and take that to the moon. He's going to win in life.
Something's going to the moon.
Either way,
something is going to the moon,
right? And just to so see that, and like that wouldn't be possible without Aptive. That wouldn't have happened without Aptive.
Dude, I think I think he was always I think he's always been a bright kid.
And not to say that HD wasn't going to do something great without Aptive. I think at this age maybe, or accelerating it at that level.
I think it had definitely accelerated for sure. Like I think regardless, he's a super bright dude. Like he was gonna do something successful with his life.
100%.
I think this put some more perspective into his life though. You know, kind of like, you know, goals to work for in a certain span of a time, maybe like financial plans after hitting that goal. You know, I definitely think that, you know, he's going to be successful, but I think this accelerated maybe the way he thinks about his future and, you know, what he's going to do and stuff like that.
He's also recruiting and he's, you know, training his guys. He's going to learn a lot of valuable lessons in leadership this year, right? I think lessons in leadership is probably one of the most underrated and under talked about things about doing door to door and leading a pest control team. Again, even if you made no money out of the equation, right? Like how valuable is it to be able to at a young age, right? And other companies, think about what you have to do to have a leadership role. It takes years and years and years before a company would deem you the leader or the manager of any group of people.
Take my dad, for example. You know, he's now he's the branch director at he's a financial advisor, wealth management firm, but he's been doing it for 23 years.
Right.
You know? So,
it took him decades to get there.
Yeah. Like literally he started working when he was 20 years old. Like he started working at RBC the same time, or Sandy Spring, he started off there the same time I started working at Aptive. And it's funny, he actually was talking to me a little while ago because I was talking about, you know, my team and how excited I am to work with these guys and what I'm doing to try and make sure everything's organized, you know, just building something and working towards it. And he was like, man, like if you go back to school and you get your degree, like you could totally come work for me any day of the week. Come work for me. You can help manage some of the firm. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you work year round, don't you though?
Yeah.
But
I mean, dude, where else? Okay. Where else? You're talking, comparing your dad, successful guy, great job, right? He's a manager of people. He's an awesome guy. But then you have you going into year 3 with a company and you've busted your ass, right? And people can point the finger. If you're not in door to door, of course, a lot of guys who maybe aren't willing to put in the work are going to point the finger and say, you know, pyramid scheme, blah, 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 whatever. You just don't know anything about it, but that's cool. You've been here for 3 years, right? And your 3rd year, you have this position. Of course, you have to make it happen. You have to put in the work, but you're going to have a team of people. You're going to produce, you know, over $2 million in revenue. That's your goal, right? You're going to go out there and produce a lot of personal revenue yourself, and you're going to make multiple. That would give you multiple 6 figures if you did all that, right? Where else is that possible? In 3 years, where else can you do that? I don't think anywhere exists. The only thing that you could do to get to that level, and again, not to mention you're a leader, right? So you're going to be looked up to as a manager. And if you do your job well and you hit your goals, right, you're making $200,000-$300,000, right? Or more, but that much, right? A lot of money, right? For doing your job well. Okay. Other places that's going to take 20 years, right? First of all, or you got to start your own company, start a product
From the ground up.
start a software, and then you hire people, and then
Yep.
you're the manager of them, right? So again, I just think this, if you're the right person, and which you are, I know this opportunity can be life-changing, and it's, it's been cool to see you grow it so quick and grind, but you've put in the work.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think, dude, honestly, like it's kind of like just like basketball. Like I stopped playing basketball, and dude, when I stopped, it's actually really funny to now, like, I haven't thought about it like this before, but when I was playing basketball and I like had goals I was kind of working for, and like, conditioning, physique, ball handling, goals, I was like a very organized person who, like, I had like direction, and then I stopped playing basketball and I like kind of like started to fall apart a little bit. And, especially like the guys at Methodist who knew me, when I stopped playing basketball, I really didn't care about school. Like I didn't really care about anything. And I kind of just floated around, would go to USC. It's how I met, Fondy and those guys. Really just didn't care. I ended up dropping out of college because, I wasn't playing basketball. So I'm not going to pay $26,000 to go to a D3 school to just be there. And like I just didn't have any like direction, nothing to do, just kind of living, stagnant. And then ever since this, like I had something to like work for, and like seeing success, and like we always talk about like pushing the needle. It's like, why? I don't know. I'm just like, and I've told you this multiple times, like I'm like just obsessed with this job, and like I've like really like fallen in love with like the whole idea of it, and like the culture, and working with your friends. Like, dude, nothing beats that, And it's funny because, even people you get to meet, like I didn't know Sabo, Ryan, Max, Jay. I didn't know any of those guys until this job, and now like, dude, there's Joey, you, like now, like you guys are like some of my best friends, realistically, I would, me and Joey probably went on like a 10-day run of playing ping pong every single day for at least like 2 hours. Like 10 days straight.
That's friendship right there.
Yeah, dude. We would just text each other and be like, yo, dude, are you trying to meditate? Like, yeah, bro, I'll be there in 10. We would just go play ping pong. So, I don't know. I think I'm enjoying the ride so far, and no reason to hop off the train, so.
I don't think so either. I mean, one thing, kind of moving towards wrapping up here soon, but like I'm really excited for you. I'm excited for you. I know a lot of people are excited for you. But I want to hear, okay, it's going to be another grind, right? The same wave of work and shit and strife and blood, sweat, and tears are coming your way. I know you're prepared for it this year, but the work's going to have to be put in, right? You have big goals. You want to do 400K plus. I know you want to do 2 million with your team, all that stuff, right? That's all just talk though. You got to go do it, right? So what's the driving force behind Scotty not being complacent and just taking a good down line? Maybe you go do 200K again. Maybe your team does 1 million. Like, what's the driving force, or maybe one of the whys behind you wanting to go push yourself and achieve something really big this upcoming year?
Just how I feel right now. Like since the summer ended to how I currently still feel. Like we went to Damon's house for the mastermind thing. That was super cool. I really enjoyed that. So shout out Damon. But dude, like I was pissed off being there. Like especially when we sat and we had our meetings and talking about stuff and plans and goals for this upcoming summer. I was getting pretty pissed off. 'Cause like I knew I was the poorest person in the room, and, granted, I probably sold better than some guys in that room, and they just had, maybe bigger downlines or whatnot. But like, even in Omega cause I think I'm pretty talented, and, I've had some conversation with Brock, and he's like, dude, I don't know why you're not going for a golden door. And so I love the support from him, but like, I hate that feeling of being in a room with even just a few guys that are in Omega, and I'm just like, dude, I'm like the least accomplished here. Like I'm like everyone had a goal and they worked for it and like they hit their goal and they're like they feel accomplished, and I feel like the lack of accomplishment. And so now I'm like, dude, like I'm going all in. Like I got to do it. Especially knowing that like I know I can, you know, like that shit sucks. That shit sucks. Like knowing, dude, like I can go out there and work harder than I've ever worked and like hit my goal. It's achievable. It's like there. I just have to do it. And if I don't, I'll have to feel like this like the rest of my life, you know. And I really hate it. So as long as I still feel like this, I still have that drive to want to be successful. So that's kind of what's really fueling me right now.
Nice. That's a good drive, dude. You got to remember that, right? I think one of the keys to achieving at a high level is, like Goggins says, you got to keep the things in your cookie jar. You got to keep that in your cookie jar all summer.
Yep.
You got to keep that feeling in your cookie jar. So when it gets tough, you wake up, you're like, ugh, right? Today, I don't know about today, right? Well, let's say, pop open the cookie jar. Well, if I don't do this today, then I'm going to feel like that again, right? I know it, right? If I take one day off and I get that habit, we're going to have the same feeling after the summer, right?
There was a podcast. It was like a snippet I saw on Instagram, and it was like, man, the moment I started being more successful in my every day-to-day life is when I stopped thinking about the current situation. Like I started to think that he was like, I start to think about me 3 to 4 hours from now. And that's what makes me do the thing in the present. Like, man, I really don't want to go get up and cold plunge. Like that's going to suck. It's going to be so cold. But me in 3 to 4 hours is going to feel so awake and so much more like rejuvenated. Like I'm going to feel so good after that. Like right now it sucks, but like, dude, 3 and 4 hours, I'm going to feel great.
Yeah.
And like, just thinking about that, like this summer, dude, wake up, man, today's going to suck. It's raining. It's cold. But like, dude, me 3 to 4 months, you know,
You're going to be happy you sold that 5K on that rainy day.
on that rainy day.
You get $3,000 more in your back end and all that, right?
So I'm just trying to I'm just trying to attack the summer differently, mentally, you know, so.
Do it for future Scotty.
Exactly. And Scotty Jr. Scotty Jr.
Double junior Scotty.
Double Jr.
On that note, dude, I'm really excited for you. 2024. I appreciate you coming and talking and sharing and spilling some real stuff. And hopefully, you know, guys that have done this before or not can take some value from what you talked about, because I think there was a lot of good stuff for both groups. So let's keep grinding, bro. Let's get to it.
Oh yeah, dude. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, bro.